gestural system
They
has
want to hear
inflicted
the voices of the people in the White House.
happening to us. So America would never do a thing like this.
Modern psychology has a word that is probably used more than any other word in modern psychology. It is the word maladjusted. This word is the ringing cry to modern child psychology. Certainly, we all want to avoid the maladjusted life. But I say to you, my friends, there are certain things in our nation and in the world which I am proud to be maladjusted, in which I hope all men of goodwill will be maladjusted. I say very honestly that I never intend to become adjusted to segregation and discrimination. I never intend to become adjusted to religious bigotry. I never intend to adjust myself to economic conditions that will take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few. I never intend to adjust myself to the madness of militarism, to self-defeating effects of physical violence. But in a day when Sputniks and explorers are dashing through outer space and guided ballistic missiles are carving highways of death through the stratosphere, no nation can win a war. It is no longer the choice between violence and nonviolence. It is either nonviolence or non-existence. And the alternative to disarmament, the alternative to absolute suspension of nuclear tests, the alternative to strengthening the United Nations and thereby disarming the whole world, may well be a civilization plunged into the abyss of annihilation. This is why I welcome the Test Ban Treaty. In other words, I'm about convinced now that there is a need for a new organization in our world. The International Association for the Advancement of Creative Maladjustment. Men and women who will be as maladjusted as the prophet Amos, who in the midst of the injustices of his day could cry out in the words that echo across the centuries, "Let justice rain down like waters, and the righteousness like a mighty stream." As maladjusted as Abraham Lincoln, who had the vision to see that this nation would not survive half slave and half free. As maladjusted as Thomas Jefferson, who in the midst of an age amazingly adjusted to slavery, would scratch across the pages of history words lifted to cosmic proportions. We know these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As maladjusted as Jesus of Nazareth, who could say to men and women of his day, "Love your enemies, bless them that curse you, pray for them that despitefully use you." Through such maladjustment, I believe that we'll be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man into the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice. My faith is that somehow this problem will be solved. In spite of the difficulties of this hour, I'm convinced that we have the resources to make the American dream a reality. I'm convinced of this because I believe Carlyle is right. No lie can live forever. I'm convinced of this because I believe William Cullen Bryant is right. Truth pressed to the earth will rise again. Somehow with this faith, we will be able to adjourn the councils of despair and bring new life into the dark chambers of pessimism. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation to a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. This will be a great day. This will be the day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.